Hi, I'm Magda from Interiors Exteriors. This time I'll show you a 33 square meter 2-room apartment which was inspired by campus. What solutions will we find here? You'll see in a moment, but I'm sure that some of them you've never seen before. Monica, the owner of this apartment, used to live in a place more than twice as big. And it just so happens that we also had the chance to film that interior 5 years ago, but that video is really full of inspiration and I still highly recommend it to you. And why did Monica decide to make a change? Because she travels a lot and realized that since she's so often away from home, she doesn't need such a large space. And if you're curious about the destinations I choose for my travels, check out her channel. Although it was created recently, there is already a lot of content that I warmly recommend to you. I'll leave the link in the video description. We start, as usual, at the entrance, and right here we have hooks for jackets, which are rarely used because usually the jacket goes straight into the closet. And all this built-in furniture was very cleverly thought out. There are various things hidden here, but I'll show you that later. For now, I'll just reveal that there are also hidden doors to the bathroom here, but we'll take a look inside later. On this side is the bedroom, and now let me invite you further into the living room with the kitchen, because this whole built-in structure continues, and the kitchen will surprise you with the solutions it has. We'll start off quite standard because here at the beginning we have a refrigerator, below is the freezer, here is a cabinet with shelves, but here we already have a dishwasher. It's small, but this is an apartment for one person and the dishwasher is incredibly conveniently accessible. Look, you can unload things without bending down. I love this dishwasher. I'm a huge fan of it right from the start because I hate bending down to the dishwasher. There are drawers below, and the first thing that came to my mind was whether unloading the dishwasher blocks access to these drawers. But look, it's designed so that the cutlery is next to the dishwasher door, so there's no problem anyway. And here are things that are rarely used, which also don't go into the dishwasher, like scissors, for example, so there's no problem. Below there's a series of more drawers. What's important is that they're relatively shallow. And that's a conclusion from our previous apartment that, for example, when storing cans, if we stand them upright, we can't see what's in each can. So storing them on their sides definitely makes it easier to find what we're looking for. Drawers are on this side too. On the top there are spices, and below here we have pots, and as you can see, these are pots that nest inside each other. None of the handles get in the way because the handles are mounted separately. You just need to hook it onto the pot when you're using it, and it's more convenient for storage. Things are more regular in shape, and there are also mixer gadgets at the bottom. You probably also noticed that these drawers are relatively shallow. Why is that? You'll see in a moment when we discuss the other side of this island, which, by the way, is movable. I can move it. I don't know if you saw because I only pushed it a little. I don't want to move it too far, but I'm going to the other side. I'll push it back. Do you see it's moving? Yeah, you can actually move this island all around the room because these wheels rotate, but usually it's just about making more space here for cooking. And when you're using the living room area and there's no one in the kitchen, you can push the island more over here so it doesn't take up space there. Let's keep going. And here we have the oven. Below, there are drawers with a toaster that's permanently plugged into the socket. At the end, there's a cabinet with pull-out shelves, and here we have a mixer which is also plugged in, so we don't have to move it anywhere. We can use it right away. And I'm closing it now. Above, over the oven, there are cabinets here that open upwards. And here, above this open shelf on top, are the plates that are used the most. And here, various food products are nicely stored in containers. At the very top are cabinets with shelves. They're used and accessed the least, but they're there. On this side, we have 3 drawers. The top one is for paper towels. They're arranged so you can pull them out from the side. A very convenient solution. The lower drawers are simply for food products. Here's a drawer for bins. Beautiful organization. 5 containers. Take note. It's a scandal that in this day and age so many apartments still don't sort their waste. Don't do that. And here we have an induction cooktop. This is an amazing drawer. And probably someone will say again that there should be 4 burners, not 2, but seriously. In a small apartment for 1 person, 2 burners are really enough. And here, they don't take up any space on the countertop at all. They're just in the drawer. Only when you're cooking. You also cook here. It really doesn't block the way to the room, because you can just go around the other way. And it's just a few more steps. And after cooking, quick move, the cooktop's gone. An incredible solution. I'm sure this is new to you. The carpenter wasn't sure if this would actually work, so for now, here it is. It was made as a prototype and will be improved, since after 2 years here, there's only one conclusion. It works. So probably not everyone will appreciate this solution. It all depends on your lifestyle, obviously. But actually, in a small space, it could be a cool idea. Great inspiration. And at the bottom, we also have this wide pull-out cargo. And look, here are these bowls right away too. 1 bowl in size with a colander inside. A strainer. A measuring cup. There are still plenty of those smaller spoons. Such solutions for small apartments are fantastic. And supposedly it's just a kitchen gadget. But still, gadgets like these, just like built-in solutions, also affect our comfort when using the kitchen. Because even with many cabinets. But if all our accessories take up a lot of space, we can still have trouble fitting everything in. The sink was chosen in such a way that we could also use the surface above it. By simply placing a board here. If we need to wash a big pot, we can just put it aside and then put it back, and there's extra space for putting things down or even for cutting, because this board here is really stable. The sink has a drainer for knives here, so after washing you can put them here. So they're always accessible, so instead of putting an extra knife holder somewhere, they just stay here in the sink permanently. And right here, I'll show you something else. Another interesting thing, which is a kettle attached to the wall. This is characteristic of this apartment, that the outlets have been hidden to a minimum. Here, there is an exceptionally unusual solution. Usually, the appliances are simply plugged in inside the cabinets where they are located. And here on the island, there are also outlets that are just slightly camouflaged. Now we're moving on to the second part of the island, and here we have you just need to unfold this countertop, and we have an elegant table where 2 or even 4 people can comfortably sit, so there's no problem hosting guests or having a convenient place to work with a large countertop. And what's more, we can pull it out much further and use this additional countertop as well. It's fitted, and now 6 people can sit here easily, 4 very comfortably. Can you imagine having such a big table permanently set up in a 2-room, 33 square meter apartment? It really fills up the space, and if such a big table were here permanently, it wouldn't be very spacious. What's more, of course, there are regular tables that can be extended, that can be small and then unfolded to become bigger, but it's rarely as simple as it is here. Very often, those extra parts have to be stored separately so they don't take up space, which creates more problems. Here, everything is simply hidden at the top of the island. There are shelves below, and there's also a socket at the bottom, so you can easily plug in your computer and there's no problem. And when you feel like exercising, you just detach and hide the tabletop. Although I think that this extra tabletop is really for special occasions and for everyday use, just the one that you just need to fold it in half. Subtitles and in totals. This mechanism works really well with one hand, so you can unfold and fold it several times a day, and it's not tiring at all. On this side of the room we have the living area, the lounge area. There's a large, very nice sofa here, and above it a picture, or actually an old headboard from a bed covered with this super soft fur. Not only does it look cool and nicely fill the space, but the material on such a surface can also improve the room's acoustics, because it simply reduces echo. Here, further on, we have a large monstera in the corner, and behind it there's a lamp for recording. And that's a nice reference to the previous video from Monica's previous apartment, where there were also photography lamps. The bedroom lamps were out in the open. You can also see Monica's passions, and she haven't changed. Also, pay attention to the table that overlaps with the sofa. The sofa is big enough that it's not a problem at all. If we need it in front of us, we can simply pull it out. It serves as a regular table then, but if we don't want it to take up space, it can also stand like this. A very versatile form, perfect for small spaces. This window plays a very important role here, as it leads to the balcony with a view of the greenery, which becomes part of the room's decor. Maybe you've already noticed during the film that sometimes the shots are a little too green. That's actually the effect of the sunlight, reflecting off the greenery, creating a greenish light that you don't usually notice every day, but during recordings it really enhances the colors a bit. And when there are warm days like today, the window is simply open, just a wing. The same. And here you can enjoy the balcony. Although it's not big, thanks to the fact that there's a glass table here, which is shallow and fits perfectly, you just need to move the chair and you can have a meal here or work with a view of the trees. A fantastic place. This table has been here for 2 years and handles winter frosts easily. A lot of people had doubts about whether glass on the balcony would be too problematic. After all, how do you clean it? But we clean windows too, and actually glass is a relatively easy material to clean. And it works really well here. The windows in the apartment face north, so to increase the amount of light a bit and also create an interesting effect, mirrors were installed in the window recesses. These aren't regular custom-made mirrors, but rather a more flexible material, though in practice you can hardly tell the difference. They really look nice here. However, if this were an apartment with south-facing windows, where the sunlight is really strong, having mirrors by the window might not be the best idea. But here it really looks great. Thanks to the fact that Monica lived in this apartment for a few months before the renovation, she was able to realize that this building isn't very well made in terms of acoustics, and you can hear the neighbors too well. That's why soundproofing the walls was one of the top priorities during the renovation. And of course, installing soundproofing mats or using mineral wool to build partition walls takes up some space. Later, once we're living here, we don't even notice it. And sometimes it's worth sacrificing a bit of that space, because obviously noise issues are very important for our comfort. But here there's a unique spot where the wall wasn't soundproofed. Instead, a recess was made to slide in this dresser. Because even though it's still relatively shallow, it was important for the hallway to be as spacious as possible, for comfortable passing back and forth. That's why this space was utilized here. And it's the same with the curtains. Thanks to the fact that the ceiling is suspended to provide soundproofing, the curtain rails could be elegantly hidden there, and it looks really nice. The dresser itself is a beautiful piece of furniture, and although it may look retro, it's actually new. It's veneered and very sturdy. I can leave a link to the store for you in the video description. And now take a look at the other side, because here we have a wall that creates a hallway, but in reality it's not actually a wall. Here we have the side of the fridge, here we have the side of the wardrobe, and really only this little fragment at the end is actually the wall between the kitchen and the bathroom, which is further back. And this shows that sometimes by creating custom-built furniture or simply using furniture boards, we can shape the space in our apartments much more than it might seem at first glance. Instead of drywall, we can use furniture to create room layouts. And here on the side of the wardrobe, there's a niche made for the cleaning robot. Robots are appearing more and more often in our homes, and it's worth thinking about a proper place for them so they're not just left out in plain sight. I already showed you the wardrobes at the beginning, but I didn't show you what's under the clothes here, and it's an ironing board. Foldable, hidden in the wardrobe, but not just placed there, it's actually a part of the wardrobe. A really interesting idea. It's the first time I've come across this. And then we slide it in, and it goes all the way in. We close it, and it's ready after ironing. Below, however, there's a tall drawer where the vacuum cleaner is hidden. Behind these big doors is the bathroom, and you already know that. And behind these, there's a washing machine with a dryer, and importantly, right next to it is a laundry basket. So when you need to start the washing machine, you don't have to go far. And what's more, you can also access this basket from the bathroom side, which I'll show you in a moment. There's a window in the bathroom, which isn't very common, especially in smaller apartments, but it's wonderful because we have natural daylight here, we don't have to turn on the lights during the day, and we can have live plants. But pay attention to the color scheme. We have pink tiles here, wallpaper with black stripes, which is very cute, and this combination creates a cheerful, playful atmosphere, different from the rest of the apartment. However, there are also some very interesting solutions here. Let's start with the laundry chute. When we throw clothes in here for laundry, they end up in a basket that can also be accessed from the hallway. When doing laundry, you don't need to go to the bathroom for clothes because everything is within reach. It's a very clever idea, but it was possible to do it this way mainly because there's no brick wall here. Here where the tiles are, there's still a wall, but this part with the door is already made like furniture. There's no cabinet in front of the sink because it's on the side. We slide it out and we have two levels for storing things. On this side, there are also two narrow little drawers. And in this one, there are hidden appliances that need to be plugged in because there's a power strip and a hairdryer, a toothbrush. They're simply plugged in permanently. Just take them out, use them, put them back, no plugging or unplugging needed. And that's why there are no sockets made here on the surface. The water closet flush installation was made lower than usual so that it would be level with the windowsill. And so that there would be one long wall and the space would be more organized. And that's why the button is on the top, not on the side as usual. Here, further on, we have access to the pipes. This isn't some clever storage space, it's just simply pipes. Here we have a shower with a curtain that goes around three sides. When we're showering, the wall is covered, so there's no problem with anything getting splashed. And when the curtain dries, you can just slide it all the way to the sides like it is now, and you have a fully open space. When the curtain is in this position, it provides coverage. There's a mop that's always within reach. So if something gets too splashed during a bath, you just need to wipe it off with your hand and you can clean it right away.
We're not leaving the bathroom yet. Two things remain. First, the cordless lamp runs on a rechargeable battery.
Such lamps have become more and more popular lately. They also often appear on tables in restaurants, and I am delighted with them because they give off a very pleasant light. They can really help us create the atmosphere in our homes, and at the same time they don't have a cable, so the flexibility when it comes to placing them in different spots is much greater. And the second thing, pipes. I've mentioned this before sometimes, but look, this is a really nicely designed bathroom. And what? The pipes are exposed, just painted to match here. You really don't have to cover up the pipes every time. Now we're in the bedroom, which doesn't have a door, just a curtain, so you can cover yourself, for example, when guests are staying over. But on a daily basis, it's not needed at all. And here we have custom-built furniture again, a high bed with storage underneath, and a wardrobe. Here are shelves. On this side a rod with hangers, and below a very deep drawer. So big where there are larger items like backpacks, shoes, but there are also those containers, baskets, which were put here for those situations when the laundry is already done, but we don't have the time or energy to sort it. So instead of leaving it out in the open, you put it in here, and then you can take care of it later when you have time. Thank you. The bed has a lift-up frame with a huge storage space underneath, but not all the way through because there are drawers at the front here. Here's a shallow drawer for clothes and another similar one for various accessories. You might also think there's a third one, but no, because here there's a step. The bed is high, so there was a risk that it would be uncomfortable to get on it, and such a step would actually be necessary. In practice, it turned out that it's not really used much, but it's good that it's there. Because first of all, sometimes it may happen that when we're sick, we won't have the strength, and then such a step might come in handy. And secondly, it's not certain that the same person will be using the bed until the next renovation. And if someone shorter comes along, then that step might actually be crucial. On this side of the bed, there are shelves with books and space for things we want to have within reach. It's like a nightstand. Here on the side, they're covered, so when you enter the bedroom, you can't see what's on them. There's visual order. Further along the wall, we have cork. It's a really nice material. Here, it's also textured, so I think it works really well. For this interior, it's also warm to the touch. By the way, cork used to be very trendy, and then it somehow fell into oblivion. Honestly, I hope it comes back, because it's a renewable material that offers really cool possibilities in interiors. And now look further at the window recess, which is much deeper than in the living room and is also lined with mirrors. It was enlarged because of the radiator underneath to even out the whole wall here, so there wouldn't be any strange breaks between the bed and the window sill. And also look at the cable sticking out from a special opening. Thanks to this, the plugs are hidden and only the absolute minimum sticks out, so you can conveniently plug in your phone. At the same time, you avoid having too many cables visible. Let me know in the comments which solution surprised you the most. And I'm also waiting for your thumbs up. I encourage you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and I want to remind you about the links in the video description, including Monica's travel channel and our store with interior design books at wnetrzazewnetrzaofficial. I hope you've already watched all the videos on our channel and haven't missed any information. You haven't missed any information. See you, bye bye.